In the ever-shifting landscape of American politics, few figures have sparked as much debate and scrutiny as Vice President Kamala Harris. As the nation grapples with pressing issues like immigration, rising costs, and public trust, the spotlight has firmly turned on her, revealing a pattern of deception that many believe has finally caught up with her. The recent heated exchanges between political leaders have illuminated a harsh reality. The consequences of Harris's past decisions are beginning to unfold, and karma is knocking at her door. During a recent debate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz attempted to divert attention by blaming former President Donald Trump for the ongoing border crisis. However, J.D. Vance, a rising political star, pushed back, highlighting that the roots of this crisis trace back to Kamala Harris herself. With a bold statement, he pointed out that her reversal of Trump's border policies led to a surge in illegal immigration, exposing the cracks in her narrative. This is not just a political squabble, it's a reflection of a deeper issue: how the lies told to the American people can unravel under scrutiny. As we dive deeper into this discussion, we'll examine the implications of the proposed border bill and how it illustrates the chaotic repercussions of Harris's leadership. We'll also juxtapose J.D. Vance's compelling story of resilience against Harris's fabricated narrative, emphasizing how authenticity is becoming increasingly valued in today's political climate. Join us as we unpack the unfolding drama of a vice president facing the music for the lies that have led so many astray. The time for accountability is now, and Harris's karma may finally be arriving. As the political landscape continues to shift, the glaring issues surrounding immigration and economic hardship serve as a backdrop to Vice President Kamala Harris's tarnished reputation. In the recent debate, J.D. Vance made a compelling case against the narrative pushed by Governor Tim Walz, who attempted to deflect responsibility for the ongoing border crisis onto Donald Trump. Vance boldly pointed out that it was Harris who initiated a reversal of critical border policies, opening the floodgates to an unprecedented influx of illegal immigrants. By dismantling 94 executive orders aimed at maintaining border security, she effectively created a crisis that has now spiraled out of control. Vance's words resonate deeply with Americans who are fed up with the political double talk that has characterized the Biden administration. The assertion that Democrats are celebrating a decrease in border crossings while simultaneously admitting to letting in millions of undocumented individuals raises eyebrows. If the current administration is indeed capable of controlling the borders, as they now claim, then why did they allow such a massive crisis to develop in the first place? The attempts to shift blame onto Trump not only lack credibility, but also showcase a desperate party struggling to find solid ground amid rising discontent. Moreover, the proposed border bill, which many see as an attempt to legalize illegal immigration rather than enforce existing laws, only deepens the sense of betrayal felt by American citizens. The bill presents a facade of action, but fails to address the root causes of the crisis. It's frustrating for those who recognize that the same individuals now proposing solutions were the ones who allowed the situation to deteriorate. As we delve further into this issue, it's essential to understand that the American public is not just looking for politicians who talk a good game. They want leaders who deliver results. In this case, Kamala Harris's karma is a reckoning not just for her past actions, but for the lies that have misled countless Americans about the state of our nation. In the debate, J.D. Vance skillfully dissected the economic narrative championed by Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, revealing their glaring inconsistencies. While Harris has attempted to portray her administration as a beacon of economic recovery, Vance highlighted the stark reality faced by American families: higher gas prices, soaring grocery bills, and an overall unaffordability that has plagued daily life. The facts are undeniable. During Trump's presidency, we saw a rise in manufacturing jobs and more affordable living conditions. Vance's assertion that life was better under Trump struck a chord with those who have felt the weight of the Biden administration's disastrous policies. The juxtaposition of Vance's humble beginnings with Harris's embellished narrative was particularly telling. He shared his story of growing up in poverty, underscoring his authentic connection to the struggles faced by millions of Americans. In contrast, Harris, who often exaggerates her middle-class roots, has a history of presenting a false image to the public. Her privileged upbringing and elite education starkly contrast with the realities of those she claims to represent. This disconnection only fuels the perception that Harris is out of touch and untrustworthy. Moreover, Vance's critiques of the Democratic leadership serve as a clarion call for accountability. Americans are not merely tired of the rhetoric, they want action. By failing to acknowledge their past missteps, Harris and Walz have lost credibility. Their attempts to portray a return to pre-crisis levels are viewed as hollow promises, especially when juxtaposed against the backdrop of the current economic turmoil and ongoing border issues. In a time when honesty and transparency are paramount, the lies and evasions from Democratic leaders only serve to alienate voters further. The reality is that Harris and her allies have crafted a narrative that seeks to distort the truth, but as the American public grows increasingly aware of these inconsistencies, the karma for her actions is becoming more apparent. Voters are demanding authenticity, and those who have perpetuated the lies will face the consequences at the polls. As the debate unfolded, J.D. Vance didn't shy away from addressing the elephant in the room: the Democrats' unwillingness to confront the consequences of their policies. The Biden administration, led by Kamala Harris, has struggled to contain the fallout from an immigration crisis that many Americans directly attribute to their decisions. Vance articulated this point sharply, reminding viewers that Harris's attempts to undo Trump's border policies have led to a flood of illegal crossings and a staggering increase in crime, including the devastating fentanyl crisis that has swept across the nation. Vance's assertions cut deep, emphasizing that while Democrats want to deflect blame onto Trump, they bear the responsibility for the current chaos. Why would they try to blame the border crisis on Donald Trump when even Democrats say, wow, this border crisis with fentanyl and illegals definitely happened under Kamala Harris? Vance posed, shedding light on the administration's blatant failures. His pointed critique was not just a defense of Trump, but a powerful indictment of Harris's tenure as vice president. In the face of overwhelming evidence, Harris's defense mechanisms appear increasingly fragile. Vance's claims about the lies surrounding immigration reform and economic recovery are echoed by many disillusioned Americans. They are tired of empty promises and disingenuous narratives that ignore the realities on the ground. The frustration is palpable. Voters are demanding solutions, not platitudes. The crux of Vance's argument lies in the assertion that Americans deserve leaders who will take responsibility for their actions, not those who spin tales to shield themselves from accountability. As the fallout from the debate continues, one thing remains clear: Kamala Harris's attempts to rewrite history are faltering, and the truth about her leadership and the resulting karma is becoming impossible to ignore. With each passing day, the divide between her narrative and the lived experiences of everyday Americans grows wider, laying the groundwork for a reckoning at the ballot box. As the dust settles from the heated debate, the implications for Kamala Harris and the Biden administration are profound. Voters are no longer swayed by empty promises and political theatrics. Instead, they are demanding accountability and genuine leadership. J.D. Vance's unflinching critique has not only illuminated the stark contrast between his background and that of Kamala Harris, but also underscored the painful reality faced by millions of Americans. Harris may have positioned herself as a champion of the people, but the harsh truth is that her policies have led to more suffering than solutions. The soaring costs of living, the unrelenting crisis at the border, and the staggering rise in crime and addiction are all outcomes of a leadership style that prioritizes political expediency over the welfare of the American people. The relentless pursuit of power has blinded Harris and her allies to the very real consequences of their decisions. Now, with the 2024 election on the horizon, it's time for the American public to make their voices heard. The call for change has never been louder. As Harris and her party cling to their narratives, they will face a reckoning from a populace that has grown weary of being misled. The question remains, can they change course before it's too late? The time for action is now. Americans are ready for leaders who will stand up for them, not against them. As the tide turns, the narrative spun by Harris and her supporters will continue to unravel, revealing the stark truth beneath their facade. The karma for the lies told to the American people is not just coming, it's already here. The 2024 election is shaping up to be a pivotal moment, a chance to restore integrity and accountability to American leadership. As we look to the future, let's remember, truth prevails and the American spirit endures.